Packer and Durham on a Tuesday. Our next guest makes his third appearance on the program. But I'll tell you what.
Might be a lot more coming.
There is nobody in the Atlantic Coast Conference in baseball playing better than these dudes. And there's what I said earlier, we've got 4 teams ranked in the top 10 in the latest polls. But this next guy has watched his guys win 13 consecutive, including a sweep over the red-hot Virginia Cavaliers, who ranked third in the country going into the weekend.
Yeah, Gino DiMare joins us from South Florida this morning. Congratulations, Coach, on a great weekend. Holy smokes.
Thank you, guys. I appreciate it. Yeah, it was we played well. You know, like I said to you off the air, it was a big weekend for us coming in with Virginia playing red hot. We were playing good, and, I was expecting to be a good series, a tough series, and maybe a low-scoring series. They had a lot of lefties. They were all lefties in their rotation, and we haven't seen a lot of lefties, and we're kind of top-heavy in our lineup lefties. And I thought we did a good job with their pitchers, and our offense really, 1 through 9, did a great job.
Coach, I know it's as easy as going back and going, well, you gave up 20 at Clemson once, and since then you haven't lost a game. But has there been something that you saw with this group that you sensed that, hey, you know what, we're a good club, and this thing's getting ready to turn, and when it does, man, we are off to the races?
Yeah, I mean, that game that you're talking about was the last game we lost, and I think, to me, maybe there's a lot of things that when you're winning the way we're playing and the games, the streak that we have, that would go to the success. But I would say the bullpen, our bullpen and the depth of our bullpen has really stepped up. We knew we had a lot of good arms in the pen, but at the end of the day, you got to get people out. And our guys in the bullpen have done a good job. We really haven't, in the weekend, other than Carson, which Friday, to be honest, after the first 2 innings, I was thinking, my goodness, he's probably not even getting through 5 innings. He ended up pitching well 3, 4, 5, and 6. He got through, gave us 6 innings, which was huge to kind of save our bullpen a little bit there for the weekend. But, our other starters, we didn't get deep into the game. We had to go to our bullpen in both Saturday and Sunday. I believe we went into our bullpen in the 5th inning. And so those guys have done a great job, along with a lot of other guys. But to me, that's what stands out during this stretch of where we've been playing well, is the bullpen and the depth of it.
All right, so you and JD got this thing now checked and balanced then, right? Hitting, pitching, all the core elements you got to have a big Miami year seem to be falling in place, it feels like.
Well, you just said it. You got to have everything in place. You can't just, I told the guys, when you, at the end of the day, if you out-pitch, you out-hit, and you out-defend the team, you're going to win every game. Mm-hmm. Now, it's not always going to work that way, but if you can do 2 out of 3 most of the time, you're going to win a lot of games as well. And we've done that during this stretch. We haven't done 3 out of 3, but a few times. But we've done 2 out of 3 quite a bit. And that's what you call a team effort. When the offense, sometimes the pitching's not where it needs to be. The hitters need to pick them up. The defense needs to be. That's one of the things the defense has been during the stretch. We're fielding about. I say the stretch, our winning streak. We're fielding about 980, a little over 980. Which we had not been doing up to that point. We were fielding a little under 970, so we've defended much better during this time. So, yeah, you got to put it all together. That's the bottom line.
Gino, we were talking during the break. Pac mentioned it earlier in the show, 4 in the top 10. It feels like the ACC's on the comeback here. I mean, and not to diminish that the league has been down, but it really feels like this thing's got a chance to work the way the conference wants it to. And you've seen this league do this, where it's multiple teams in the top 25, multiple teams top 10. They're 4 right now. Do you get a sense that something significant can happen for the ACC as a whole out of all this?
Well, first of all, I think the ACC has been very good for a long time and very competitive. You've added teams here. I mean, look, we're kind of new to it. I mean, we came in 2005, so we're a little new to it. And then you add teams like Louisville and Notre Dame and some of the other teams. And so the depth of the conference, I always tell this story about in 2015, I believe Virginia finished the end of the season barely, and I mean barely, got into the ACC tournament. They had to do a play-in game. They actually had to do a play-in game the way it was set up back then to get into the ACC tournament. They won the national championship, and I think they were 8th or 9th at the end of the regular season in our conference, and they won the championship. And then the next year in 16, we have 10 teams in the NCAA tournament. to me, this is kind of a similar year to that 16 year where you've got a number of teams. I mean, if the season ended right now, you could have possibly 10 teams in the NCAA tournament. So, but as a coach in our conference, I mean, it's a bear every weekend. The depth of our conference is as good as anybody in the country. And you're right. I mean, when you got 4 teams in the top 10 at this point right now, it shows not only the depth, but there's some teams here that have a chance to maybe go all the way.
Coach, I don't mean to fast forward through a midweek game, but this weekend you get Virginia Tech. The Hokies cracked the top 25 in the D1 poll this week, and we had a replay yesterday. They're stealing home base in the snow, and I'm thinking, man, I got Miami smoking hot down in Coral Gables. I got the Hokies hitting things left and right with their offense, stealing home base in the snow. I mean, the league's got a little bit of everything, but another huge series coming up this weekend for you.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, we do have FAU, and that's today, and that's something that, we try not to get ahead of ourselves. But since you're asking me, I have watched some highlights. I did see that play, and I did see that weather they were playing in. And Virginia Tech is good. They came down here in our place and took 2 of 3. After we beat them the first game, they won the next 2 games, which I have not forgotten, and I know our players haven't either. And so that's a big challenge going on the road, playing in weather that we're probably not used to. If I had to guess, it's probably not going to be 75 degrees or 80 degrees like we're used to here. But that's okay. I know our guys are looking forward to it. I think the bottom line is our guys hopefully are staying focused on the task at hand, and that's, of course, FAU today, and just playing good baseball. And I told the guys after the game on Sunday, we still got a lot of room for improvement. There's a lot of things I just mentioned. I touched on the rotation. I'd like to see our starters go a little bit deeper into games. Our defense, although it's been better of late, we need to be more consistent doing that. And there's just a lot of things that we can certainly get better at. We got a long way to go in the season. So, it's good where we're at right now. Happy where the program's at right now. But, we don't want to get ahead of ourselves.
Hey, Gino, you don't have to worry about snow. That was last weekend. Jim Cantori was in town last weekend in Blacksburg. This weekend, it could be 75 degrees up there. You just don't know how it plays out in April, do you?
Yeah. No, and we've played in snow in April before. We went to Pittsburgh a few years back and played in snow and won on a Sunday in a rubber match game. So we've played in some crazy weather in this conference. Fortunately, it's not at our place. We're lucky. We don't have crazy weather here. We play the majority of our games here, but we do obviously have to go on the road and in our conference. So, but that's okay. Guys got to get used to that when they go to the next level. It's funny, you play in the most important games, Major League Baseball, some years you watch in the World Series, and if they're in northern regions of the country, like the Yankees for so many years, playing in some really, really tough weather, and those are the biggest games of your lives that you've waited your whole life to play in. And so guys got to be prepared to play in all kinds of different elements.
Coach, I got good news for you. I just looked up on my weather app. High of 70 in Blacksburg on Friday, 69 Saturday, and 64 Sunday.
You're
0% chance of precipitation. So you're living a good life, my man. You're bringing that Coral Gables weather up there to Blacksburg. Life's tremendous.
We'll take that. I like hearing that right there. I hope it stays.
By the way, not only are you having great success, I was surprised to know how young this roster is. It's kind of scary how many freshmen and sophomores you have on this program right now that are not only on the roster but contributing to the team.
Well, it's unusual for the circumstances of the time we're going through right now with the COVID and kids getting an extra year and rosters being bigger. We've kind of gone the other route. It was a decision that we made as coaches. First of all, I'm not a big fan of big rosters. I don't like that. It's difficult enough. We've got 32 players on our roster. You're allowed to have 40, and most teams that we've played against have had 40 players, 40-man rosters or close to it. But we have 32, and it just makes it easier for so many reasons, and I'm sure you can figure that out. But for us, I think it's been good. We had a good recruiting class last 2 really back-to-back good recruiting classes. Our team is basically heavy freshman and sophomore. We do have a few third-year guys. We only have one player on our team that's been here 4 years, and that's J.P. Gates. So it's a lot of 1-year and 2-year guys on our team. And if you look at our lineup, We got a handful of freshmen starting, and we got a freshman in the rotation. We got a freshman setup guy. And yeah, we are unusual for us to be in this day and age, because most of the teams you're seeing 6-year guys and 5-year guys and big rosters. And we're kind of the opposite of that, which is okay with us.
Gino, I want to dive here a little bit into. I want to cross pollinate with some other sports. We're hearing a lot about portal, a lot about the COVID year, all those type things, right? Baseball has kind of been dealing with this for a long time, because you actually had a sport that somebody could transfer and be eligible immediately because of the clock for the draft and all those type things. So now that you're seeing it play out in other sports, does the baseball coach in you go, hey guys, the roster management principles we use, and you just mentioned smaller roster, it does work to your advantage. It has been effective. Do you sense that that is a strength now for your program, even more so than what you thought it might be going forward, because of the volatility we're seeing across the board in college athletics?
Yeah, I don't know. I know this. How you work your scholarships is got to be different now. You got to make sure, and our sport is so unique with the scholarship limitation. I kind of compare it to the big leagues, and they have the salary cap situation. It's kind of similar, but we have to save money. We got to make sure that we hold money for the portal, and a lot of the recruiting in the portal is done in a very short window. A lot of it, not all of it, but a lot of it, because it's at the end of the season. That's when a lot of action is happening with kids leaving schools, and so it's amazing. Our coaches are on the road recruiting high school kids in the summertime, but yet we've got to be on that portal 24/7, and I mean 24/7, watching and seeing who pops up, watching a lot of video of the transfers, obviously making a lot of phone calls and whatnot, and it's really a quick deal. So we've got to make sure we have money available for those guys. It has worked in our favor this year. We have a few guys that are starting for us that are from the portal. Our catcher, Max Romero from Vanderbilt, has been outstanding for us. Hitting cleanup behind Yo-Yo Morales, which is an important position in our lineup, I would say. And then, of course, our center fielder, Jacob Burke from Louisiana, Southeast Louisiana, is another guy just off the top of my head. And we got about a handful of them that are performing for us in different areas. But we've had some success with it. So it does change. It's a different dynamic. The bulk of your recruiting still needs to be, for us, high school kids, no doubt about that. We need to bring in kids. That's the bulk of it, and that's always going to be, the mass majority of our players coming in are going to be high school kid, the vast majority. But we have to be able to get these guys, these transfer guys. That's just the landscape of recruiting nowadays. So I think our coaches have done a good job with that.
How much of this 13-game winning streak has to go with the fact that Dan Radakovich is now the boss at Miami?
What am I supposed to say? Oh, Lord. Dan is, you know what? It's interesting. Dan was here back in the mid 80s. I just missed him because I played in the late 80s. He was here in the early mid 80s, I guess. And then, but I do have some ties with Dan. He's my dad, who's been a supporter of the program, really the university for a long time, but the athletic department knew Dan way back when. I didn't. I was young at the time, but he left and went to some places. He's been around a lot of good baseball schools. Long Beach State. He was at Georgia Tech. Of course, he was at Clemson. He was at LSU. Probably leaving some other out, but a lot of good baseball schools. He's been great. He came in and within the first week, he came over to the office, met with him for about an hour. I was surprised at how much he knew what was going on. I knew he knew about the history of the program because he had been here before, but about the present of what was going on in our program and what we were trying to do and what we needed. And he obviously had educated himself before he came in here, and he knew a lot, and he's been great. I mean, he called me yesterday and congratulated me. And in a short period of time, I feel like I've gotten to know him a lot. And so I tell you what, I don't know how much he has to do with the success, but I'm glad that he's here. And of course, looking forward to building a relationship with him.
Well, and you know this, if you need a Skip Burtman story, he's got about a bucket and a half full of Skip Burtman stories for you too, Gino, from his time at LSU.
Yes. Yeah, and there's a lot of them out there. Skip Burtman stories is a very popular one. Skip was here in Miami as a Miami guy. His number's retired on the wall. He went to Coral Gables High School. excuse me, he went to Miami Beach High School, but played here at Miami, and then of course coached under Coach Frazier. And of course, we heard a lot of stories about Skip Bertman when I played here, and he might be mimicked more than any coach in the country. There's a lot of guys that imitate Skip Bertman.
Yeah, legend, needless to say. All right, before we let you go, we've been asking coaches this question. I'm curious what your answer will be. For you specifically, Gino, what is your walk-up music? What's the song that gets you hopping in the mornings?
Oh, my goodness. That's a good one there. My walk-up music. Well, I'm a big music guy. I love listening to music. And, gosh, I'm going to mess this up right here because J-Ro Keesh, our longtime, J-Ro, the legendary J-Ro Keesh, our PA guy for 55 years or whatever it's been now. He plays a song. I don't know if he knows this or not, but he plays a song every time I walk to the home plate for the umpires meeting. And it's a song that I believe was our 1985 national championship theme song. And I'm going to mess this up. I forget who sings the dang song, but it's amazing. It's one of my favorite songs. I haven't even told him this, but he plays it every time I walk up. I have no idea. It's just a coincidence, I guess. And so, but it's like an 80s song. It's an 80s old classic rock song. And I remember as a little
Gino, hum it for us. Hum it for us.
Hum it for it. Oh gosh, I can't do that. I'm forgetting it now. But anyway, I was a youngster when I heard that song, and I remember the championship team celebrating to that song, and that was their theme song. So that's my walk-up song.
I'll tell you what, we're going to find out the answer to that. So for future appearances, you're going to hear that as the intro to your appearance on the program, because we got to make that happen.
That would be fine with me.
You got it.
There you go. Hey, Gino, good luck tonight, and good luck this weekend in Blacksburg.
Thank you, guys. I appreciate you having me. Thank you very much.
You bet.